A software is changed all the time. If it is not changed, the software is dead. Things like clean architecture and clean code, widely known, tons of information and tutorials available about them. Many organizations have encoded it as some kind of convention or mandatory practice. And in all probability, in your next programming interview, you may be asked a few questions on these topics. Despite such a huge and widespread area of influence, there are still huge misconceptions about it. And one of the biggest misconception is that a clean architecture or a clean code will look clean to my eyes. If I look into the architecture which is considered clean architecture, it will look clean to me and the code will look clean to me. This is the biggest misconception because nothing can be farther from the truth. It has nothing to do with how it looks. Now, I will come to the point why this misconception is there, but before that, we need to understand the rationale or the real meaning of clean architecture and clean code. And to understand that, for a moment, just unlearn whatever you know about clean architecture or clean code, solid principles, outer layers, accessing inner layers. Just unlearn all those things for a moment. A software is ever changing, ever evolving entity. A software is changed all the time. If it is not changed, the software is dead. If it is alive, it has to change. And the whole idea and concept behind coming up with clean architecture or onion architecture or clean code or any such practices is that it allows you to extend your software and maintain your software in a relatively easy way. So, here is what the real meaning and definition of a clean architecture or a clean code. Any software architecture or code which allows you to extend your software or maintain your software in a relatively easy way, less cumbersome way, relatively isolated way, can be called as a clean architecture or a clean code. It has nothing to do with how it looks. Think about some of the practices like dependency inversion, why it is there. Today I am using X file system or X database, tomorrow I will be using Y database. I can mock things. Extension of your software. Single responsibility principle. What does it mean? A small piece of code or a class or an object will be doing only one thing. Maintenance of your software. Ring architecture. Maintenance of your software. Only outer layers can access inner layers. Maintenance and extension of your software. Anything and everything you see in these practices, they are all related to either help you in extension of your software or maintenance of your software. And the other misconception coming out of this is that these are the only things which can allow your architecture to be clean or code to be clean. No, they are some of the practices, but they are not complete. There are many other things using which you can create clean architecture or clean code as long as your architecture is good enough to extend or maintain. The problem is that people are not discovering other things which can help you to do that, but you can. There are some things which will be discovered at some later point of time. They will also be considered as clean architecture and clean code. Now, why this misconception was there? It's because when we learn these things, we play with toy codes. When I say toy codes, it's just like, when kids started learning something, they use the toys. And we do the same thing when we learn programming. When we look into the toy codes, we see that, okay, the existing code wasn't looking good. Understand this, looking good. But the new code with some of these principles and practices is looking good. And that's where this concept of looking comes into picture that a clean architecture will look clean code will look clean. That cannot happen. Think about any production level software. All of these softwares are complex entities. If someone can write code or create an architecture for these things which looks clean, there is no need of any software developer. Just consider any production level code on which you have worked, or look into any publicly available information about some of the systems like Netflix, AWS, Amazon. Can you understand the architecture just by looking at it? Or can you say by looking at the architecture that it's clean or it looks clean? No, you can't. In fact, you cannot see the complete architecture in one piece of paper. So does the code. You cannot look into hundreds and thousands of lines of code and understand everything by looking at it, no matter whatever principles are being applied while writing those code. It's not about looking clean. Any production level code will not look clean. Just take that from me. It's not at all possible that you write hundreds and thousands of lines of code in a way where it will look clean. It's nothing to do with the looking. When you create a software, the condition of a software being alive is that the software is changing, and you need to make sure that you are writing your software in such a way where the changes can be done in a relatively better way, easy way, less error prone way. And that's the concept, rationale, and idea behind so called clean architecture or clean code, or for that matter, any name we give it today or tomorrow. I do hope and believe that this video give you the gist of why we are doing these things and what is the rationale behind it. Thank you all. Thanks for watching.